Okay, guys, this is going to be wrapping up the chapter. So, factorizing algebraic expressions is the opposite from expanding. And so, what's really important, again, timetables, especially when it comes to factors, highest common factors, you need to know your timetables really well. Just as introductory, so if we have 4 and 6, okay, just two numbers, the highest common factor is going to be 2. 2 can go into 4, 2 can go into 6. There is nothing bigger that can get into those numbers, okay? If we had 2x and 4, okay, sorry, two separate terms, the highest common factor is still 2. There's no common letters, but just common numbers, okay? So then if we had something like, say, 2gh and 6g, then you have a common number. Highest common number is 2. So 2 and 6 can be divisible by 2. And you have common letters, okay? A common term or common pronumeral, which is g. So 2g is going to be your highest common factor between these two terms. If we had, say, something like 16mnp and 20mn, we just focus on the two numbers or the coefficients. Highest common factor between 16 and 20 is 4. Okay, and they both have an m, they both have an n, they don't have a p, so you do not put that in. Alrighty, so putting all of this into practice, when we're factorizing, we're wanting to take out those highest common factors and then have everything else left into brackets. So we have a simple example as 3x plus 6, and we want to factorize that. The highest common factor between 3 and 6 is 3. What we need to do then is we open brackets and we ask ourselves, well, 3 times what gives us 3x? It's x, okay? So 3 times x is 3x. And then 3 times what gives us 6? Well, that's 2. 3 times 2 gives us 6. Another way of doing it is 3x divided by 3 is left with x, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. Okay, so there's our factorized form. Best way to test whether you factorize correctly is to expand it again. So 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, so let's move on to one that will say, let's look at this one here. So 2xy plus 6y, two terms, and we're going to look at the highest common factor that we can take out from both terms. With numbers 2 and 6, we can divide both by 2. Okay, they don't have an x to share, but they have a y in common. So we can open the brackets there. So then we could ask, well, what is 2xy divided by 2y? You're left with just x. What is 6y divided by 2y? Well, that's just 3. Okay, and we close brackets. Again, same thing. If you want to test that or check that you factorized correctly, expand it again. So 2y times x will get you back to 2xy, and 2y times 3 will get you back to 6y. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do something, let's say, with 3 terms. Change the color this time. So 12ac minus 4c plus 3dc. Now in this case, it's really important that you see what is in common. Actually, no, what I might do is I'll change it to this one. 4g plus 8gh minus 16. So we've got three terms here. It's really important to find out common factors with all terms, not just some of them. And in this case, we look at the numbers first, 4, 8, and 16. We can divide all three terms by 4. So we're going to put 4 there. Now, when we look at the letters, we can see that 16 does not have any letters. So then there's no point in putting G. We're going to straight away open the brackets. 4G divided by 4 is just G. 8GH divided by 4 is 2GH. And then 16 divided by 4 is 4. And remember, we have a negative, so we're going to include the negative. So there's our factorized form, and hopefully that helps you guys. What I might do is I'll throw in something a little bit more complicated, just to mix everything that we've done so far with multiplying, dividing, expanding, adding, subtracting, and yeah, the whole mix. And we'll see how we go here. Okay, so you ready? We've got 2x squared y minus 6xy squared divided by a plus 2b. And we're going to multiply that by 4a plus 8b over 3xy. And then we're going to divide that by 2x minus 6y over 7. Okay. All right. So this question here asks us to factorize and then simplify. So we want to factorize, then simplify. So basically, it's going to ask us to do everything that we've done this entire chapter. Take it one step at a time. Let's start with the top. The top of the first fraction. So we've got 2 and 6. Highest common factor is 2. Going to open brackets. We do have an x in common. Sorry, I don't want to open brackets. We're going to put an x, and we do have a y in common as well. Okay. Now we're going to open brackets. 2x squared y divided by 2xy is going to leave you with x on its own. Take away 6xy squared divided by 2xy is going to be 3y. And we're going to close brackets. Okay. Now let's look at the bottom one, a plus 2b. There is nothing that we can simplify there. We can't factorize it. So we're going to leave it as so. Let's look at the second fraction. Up the top, we can factorize. So 4 and 8 have a common factor of 4. There's no letters or pronumerals that are in common. So 4a divided by 4 is a. And then 8b divided by 4 is just 2b. Again, at the bottom, 3xy, nothing to comment there, just a standalone. Now, I want you to understand this. When you divide fractions, your tip is to change it to a multiplication and flip the fraction around to get the inverse. So anything that says the inverse, you're flipping the fraction. But what I want to do is, let's look at this top of this fraction here. Common factor is 2 again. No letters that are in common. So we're going to have x minus, and then 6 divided by 2 is 3y. Okay. And so I factorize that part. Because it's dividing, we're going to flip the fraction, change it to a times. Now, this is where the fun part comes along. You've factorized everything, and we're going to cancel things out. All right. So what we can see is, and looking at certain things, I'm just going to put brackets there. It doesn't really matter with or without, but you'll start to understand why. So common brackets, we've got an x minus 3y over here, we've got an x minus 3y over there, so we can cancel those out. We've got an a plus 2b and an a plus 2b, we can cancel them out. So cross simplification, so remember again, when we're multiplying fractions or dividing fractions, those things that we've done in the past, if you need to revise and refresh your memory and go through it again, please do that. We've got xy and xy. So xy and xy can cancel out as well. We have a 2 on the top. We have a 2 at the bottom. They can cancel out. So what are we left with? We are left with 4 times 7 over 3. Which is 28 divided by 3, and you can leave it as an improper fraction. If the question asks you in mixed number, then we're looking at 9 and 1/3. Okay, so guys, hopefully that helps you with factorizing and simplifying and putting everything together as well. If you've got any questions, let me know. Otherwise, yeah, see you in the next one.